training that front desk is a big deal. The front desk needs to know who is coming to the hotel. So
Yeah.
getting those company names and not just leisure, not just business, really engaging with that client that's coming in.
Hey everyone, put your bags down and relax, and welcome to the Room Key, where we help hotels stop leaving money on the nightstand. I'm your host, Chase Keller. Today I'm joined by Danielle Beckcom, the founder of TADA Hotel Consulting. Danielle has spent more than 20 years helping hotels, both independents and franchises, unlock profitability through smarter revenue strategies and commercial support. She left a successful career inside hotel brands to launch her own firm, and along the way, she has become a trusted advisor to owners who want to maximize performance without the overhead of a full in-house team. We're going to dive into her story, the lessons she's learned, and some practical nuggets for hotel owners to take away right now. Danielle, thank you so much for joining me. I'm finally glad that I was able to lock you down and get you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Chase.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go way back. Danielle, where did you grow up? Who were you as a kid?
Okay. Well, I was adopted from Chile as an infant, brought to the United States, and grew up in Spring, Texas, where I lived a majority of my life. So I had the same friends and around me since I was, I guess, 3 years old, and still have those friendships today. So,
Nice.
friendships, being an only child, friendships are really important to me. Building those connections are very, very close to my heart. So, very thankful for the way I was raised.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Spring, Texas. You're in obviously the Houston area still today, so long time Texan.
Longtime Texan, didn't venture out much. Short stint in Virginia, but came back probably within 6 months of being there. Just missed Texas too much.
All right. All right. And you're in the Houston area now, right?
I am. I'm in the Woodlands.
Nice. Very nice. You've had a long career in hospitality. When did that start?
That started at a young age. So I was going to college up in College Station, Texas, and my mom and stepdad got one of those unexpected divorces. So I was forced to finish the semester of college I was in. My stepfather was a doctor, so I couldn't get approved for financial aid, and I was forced to go into the industry of finding my career. So I stumbled into a Ramada out in College Station and worked as front desk for about 6 months and made my way into sales. So that was 1996. So I've been there ever since.
All right. What did you like about the sales role, or what did you like about hospitality in general?
I like the interaction with people. So I didn't know I was doing it, but I was at the front desk again, early 20s, I think 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
And I, all I wanted to do was go home. I wanted my shift to be over, right? So 7 to 3, 3 to 11, I was ready to get out of there. One of the things I was taught as part of my job responsibilities was get the company name, find out why they're here. So what I did was I didn't wasn't really comfortable with talking to people. Now that was back in the day when the internet was just starting. People didn't like to give out their phone numbers. They didn't like to give out their email address. They didn't like to give out
Yeah.
any information. So I didn't want to talk to them. They would get mad at me. So what I would do is I started calling them before they would get to the hotel. So I would call them up and say, "Hey, Mr. Smith, I see that you're arriving today. We're so excited to have you. What brings you to the area?" And I would get their information and put that into their profile. I also would see a number of, let's say Stan Smith. He had 5 reservations coming in for 3 nights. I didn't want to have to check them in. I didn't want to have to ask each person's name as they stand in line getting mad at me. So I would
Yeah.
call him too. Hey, what brings you to the area? Do you happen to have everybody's name so I can make your arrival go much quicker? So I didn't know I was doing sales the entire time. So
Nice.
the staff caught wind of it, management caught wind of it, and moved me into sales right away. So again, that's where I've been ever since.
Right. Improving by necessity, by you not wanting to
Right,
upset people or just have awkward conversations. And
exactly.
you were able to develop something better.
Exactly.
Awesome. Looking back, you've had obviously a long career in hospitality. What key experiences shaped the way that you approach helping owners today?
Today, I would say educating owners about remote sales. So, we all know that the industry right now, finding good people is hard. Ever since the pandemic, I think being able to find seasoned sales, people that even want to work, that I find a lot of people are demanding now, and they come in
Yeah.
demanding what they want to come and work for you. So what we offer, one thing that makes us stand out about different from our competition is we hire seasoned sales professionals. So I only
Yes.
hire sales professionals that have, you know, 10, 15 plus years of hotel sales experience. So it's something that I can offer different, which eases up. They don't have to pay, health benefits, worry about turnover. They can just come to me, get a seasoned sales professional at a quarter of the price. So educating, owners about remote sales and how things have changed up a little bit in the industry is something that I find to be very intriguing. And so when I can get an owner's ear, I tell them about all the benefits of remote sales and having that seasoned sales individual that knows how to go and find the business. We've been doing this for a very long time. So we
Right.
know where to look. We know where those hidden gemstones are in order to bring business to their hotels.
That's interesting. Do you have a niche as far as the types of hotels that you work with or the geography? Because you're not dealing with just hotels directly in the Houston area, of course, right?
Correct. We're all over the United States. So we find ourselves, we have everything. We've got some resorts, we've got extended stay, we've got independence, and a lot of select service. So we also have some full service. Holiday Inns are pretty big for us, Hilton Garden Inns, hotels, more limited select service. I think that would be our most popular
Yeah.
clients. So, without being in the location, again, with having seasoned sales individuals, we know how to do the work without necessarily being there. We do offer a hybrid solution or sales blitz where we will go out to the market because some of these owners, or really based on their location, um, have a need to have that personal touch to go knock on
Yeah.
some doors. But everything has changed since the pandemic. People aren't always in the office anymore. They're just now bringing back full timers, at the office. So it's been rather difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go back a little bit. What was the first hotel that you worked at when you were in college?
When I was in the Ramada and College Station,
Ramada Inn.
Texas
Yes.
Avenue. Yep.
All right. How long were you there? What was your next stint after that?
I was there for about a year, and funny story, I went to an AHOA regional meeting last year and ran into my very first general manager, which was wonderful.
Nice.
So it's been almost 30 years. It'll be, I think 29 years in the industry right now. So running into him was such a pleasure. But yeah, so I started there. After college, I had gotten married, and after college, we moved to Virginia. So I worked at a full service Hilton in Arlington, which was an amazing experience in itself. Found my way back to Houston, had some opportunities to open up some hotels. So I did that here in the Woodlands where we moved.
Okay.
So that was fantastic. Still in touch with that ownership group until this day. I found myself into a regional position in about 2004 where I had multiple properties across multiple brands, and that's what I had been doing. up until about 7 years ago, I had been working as a regional.
Okay. Always in the sales role or different
Always
position
in
itself?
sales role. Yep.
Very nice.
Either leading a team or doing the sales myself. So yeah.
All right. What was the spark that pushed you to start TADA?
I had an experience with not such a great management company. It was a company that started on their own and was kind of outsourcing me. So I was 1099 at that
Okay.
point and outsourcing me to hotels that needed sales. When I saw the demand for sales over operations at that point, I said, hey, I can do this for myself. So why not? So I started TADA. I started TADA in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Obviously, it's going well.
It's going great. Such a
Very
blessing.
nice. When you look across the hotel industry right now, what would you say is one of the biggest blind spots you see owners struggling with?
Perhaps maybe working with their front desk, making sure that front desk is trained. They need to be reviewing those arrival reports, seeing who's in their hotel. I think a lot of times these owners, because we work with both independent owners and also management companies, and there's a big difference between the two. But a lot of owners feel like, hey, my front desk person can do this, when that's not always the case. You need a professional sales individual that's been educated on how to sell. Sure, we can offer a rate to someone that walks in the door, but what else are they doing? Are they building a Chick-fil-A? Do they have a training team coming in? What about the construction? Who's handling all the tech? Who's the subcontractor? Find out all that information. Those are things that sales knows how to approach. So I find that to be very important. I think also reviewing their online reviews. That's something very important to know how their hotel looks. At all these owners, I think a majority of them do pay attention, especially because the brand standards. You need to make sure that you're answering these reviews online.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you really need to pay attention to that online presence. So these days, everybody's on their phone, everybody's on their computer. That's where we go and get the information. So they're looking at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard so many times that the profitability of a hotel, the scheduling out the year, budgeting for the year, all begins with the sales department. All begins with filling up certain number of those, and especially for a lot of hotels, what your month, your quarter is going to look like before it happens because of the sales role. And then of course you fill in what you can with other, day stays and tourists and other business travel, but it's the sales role that really determines the budgeting and everything for a hotel long term.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with TADA, we partner with those revenue managers. So we are on every revenue management call. So whether that be weekly or biweekly, we're very in touch with our revenue managers and talking about the markets. We're reviewing the star reports to see how are we year over year? What are we missing? Are we getting 100% of our RevPAR index against our competition? So all of those factor into the budget and preparing for next year.
Yeah. You've worked with independents and franchises alike, right?
Right.
What would you say the best operators consistently get right?
I would say, a majority of operators are on the revenue calls and they're paying attention. So,
Hmm.
I think that that's so important to know again where your hotel is lying against your competition and opportunities. What are we missing? So, I think a majority of them are on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Owners often feel stuck when the demand drops or costs rise, which obviously we've had a lot lately. What's one way that they can build resilience in these moments?
I think with sales, I think paying attention, again, training, training that front desk is a big deal. The front desk needs to know who is coming to the hotel. So
Yeah.
getting those company names and not just leisure, not just business, really engaging with that client that's coming in, hey, how was your flight? What brings you to the area? And making that conversation rather than, hey, why are you here? What company are you with? Like a robot, you need to engage in conversation, find out why they're here, and pass that along to your sales department. So, eliminating that sales department when you're cutting costs is not a good idea. You need to fill that pipeline, and make
Yes.
sure that front desk is gathering that information so the sales department can fill that pipeline.
Yeah. It seems off to let go of a sales department when they are the ones actively going out and trying to get you business. It seems counterproductive, but I know every business has its own struggles.
They
Um,
do, and you're right. I mean, they seem to eliminate that department rather quickly. And I understand. I mean, it's a big overhead. So
yeah.
again, I think that's why our piece of remote selling and having seasoned sales professionals come in, again, a quarter of the price, we can handle that for them. So
Right.
they don't miss out and they're cutting their cost. Again, don't have to worry about overhead, benefits, all of that, turnover, because we're always there. So I think it really helps these owners a lot once they get more familiar with remote sales and more confident about it, because a lot of them are old school. A lot of them really do believe that still knocking on doors, building after building is going to get them the sales. It's not necessarily that, it's the research.
Right. Right. Absolutely. If you were starting a new conversation, somebody reaches out to you, if you were to sit down with a hotel owner for 5 minutes, what's the first thing you'd look at to understand how healthy their business is?
Absolutely. I would ask them to look at their star. So that's one of the first things that we do when we're engaging with an opportunity for a new client is we ask to look at that star.
Yeah.
So I need to know, are you getting your fair share in the market? Are you at 60% RevPAR index? Where are we needing to grow? Do you need ADR? Do you need occupancy? What is it you'd like to see from your hotel to improve? So I don't want to waste their time and I don't want to waste our time. So we won't take specific hotels if we don't find an opportunity for us to get them business.
Yeah. Absolutely. What's the easiest piece for you to help fix? Is it just the occupancy? Is it increasing that share of the RevPAR? What's the low hanging fruit?
I really like a hotel that's underperforming because I like the challenge. So
Mm,
we can identify, through the RevPAR index, again, if they're getting their fair share.
yeah.
Um, because we know a lot. We know a lot. We're really educated in sales. We know those accounts that you can put probably at any hotel in the United States. We know what accounts to go after. Then we tackle who's in their comp set. So the star report is telling you, where they're getting those numbers from and who they consider to be in their comp set. So
Yeah.
we go in and we dig through that comp set to identify who's staying there in order to shift share. So we'll handle that. We also do any incoming leads. Obviously, there are third party platforms we review and move business. So taking a challenged hotel and making it successful is something that just keeps me going. I'm so competitive being a salesperson, and
Nice.
our staff is the same way. That's what we look for, is that competitive edge in order to move that business. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of how we tackle it.
Yeah, absolutely. And not every hotel is great at this. Whether they have a sales staff in house, they hire somebody third party, they don't have one at all. Not every hotel has it, but I also like the competition of the ones that do have a good sales staff. How can I go up against them? How do I compete? Essentially, I like sports. I like watching sports, not necessarily following a lot of specific teams, but just the excellence and the competition continually getting better. I like to look at what other people have and how do I up my game in order to compete against other good players.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's always a challenge. And that's something that we get asked as well, is how do we sell against those hotels that have someone on site? And
Yeah.
again, I think I go back to everything that's happened since the pandemic and just finding someone seasoned that knows who to look for and how to go get the business is the biggest opportunity for us. Knowing what we know and what we've experienced and been taught during our careers helps us with that. So, we're looking at those arrivals. We're looking at that in-house. Hey, do you already have an L&R with this company? They've been in, the last 5 weeks. You've been getting 3 rooms every Tuesday, Wednesday night. Is that an L&R? And then obviously we'll reach out to that client. But we really focus on what's in the market, doing that research, all of our little hidden gems that we have from our experience to go pull in that business. So, and again, having that option to come in and do a sales blitz if they feel that there's so much competition and there's a lot of sales directors that are in the competitors' hotels, then we'll come out and we'll do that. So there's a solution for everything.
Nice. Absolutely. There's always a strategy.
There's always a strategy.
What's a small change that you've seen in revenue or sales strategy that has delivered a surprisingly big impact?
I think the joining of the revenue management and the sales team. So I find that engagement is something that is extremely beneficial to hotels because you have the person selling your hotel, the person running your hotel, and the person that's responsible for revenue management all on one call. So you're able to brainstorm. You're able to, hey, is that group? Have you put that group into the system yet? Or hey, I'm getting a lot of calls for March 3rd and 4th. It looks like, a big baseball team's coming in. Let's go ahead and adjust rates now before we start bidding on these groups. So I think having that communication with, again, revenue managers, GMs, and sales is very important and crucial for the hotel's success.
Absolutely. If for the owners listening, what's one thing that they can review this week to know if they may be leaving money on the table?
Take a look at the star. See where your monthly star is, your weekly. See how you're measuring up to the competition. That's going to give you a lot of information about how your hotel is playing against your comp set.
Yeah. Yeah. And you talked a little bit on the relationship between the revenue management and sales itself. Can you define a little bit of each of the roles, how they differ and how they can work well together?
Sure. So I feel like obviously operations, your general manager, they're going to know everything that's happening on site at the property. Revenue management is reading all of those reports. They're seeing, year over year, what's our growth, what's missing. It looks like, did we have a hurricane last year at this time? And then you've got the sales department telling you what's in the pipeline. So when you put that all together, they're able to, find out what that pipeline needs to look like for the future. What do we need to work on? Hey, you've got a big gap coming up 2 months from now. Most of the time, the revenue managers are looking 3 months in advance. So we're taking a look at numbers for that time period so we can identify opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the relationship between those two and operations itself, that only helps out quite a bit with making sure you have the right people on staff, making sure you if you've got a couple down weeks, that's when you're taking care of the extra maintenance stuff. You're getting ahead of the game as opposed to always being behind and trying to catch up on whatever the issue is. So that relationship between the whole team, I think, is vitally important for a hotel to operate well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How has the role of revenue management evolved over the last decade? And what's next for the next generation of owners?
I think a lot of the brands are putting together that sales and revenue management team. So I think they're understanding how important that is to combine those roles. So some brands will have sales as part of that commercial strategy with revenue management in order to be prepared. So I think moving forward, we're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah. Everyone's talking about AI, automation. From your perspective, what's worth paying attention to and what's just noise?
Well, funny story. I had recently gone through a drive-through, and I didn't know it was AI. I thought I was talking to a real human being, which blows my mind. It blows my mind. But and I was saying with the order, I think I said extra hot sauce or something like that, and they couldn't understand me. And so I
Yes.
repeated myself, and then I understood I was talking to AI at that point, but they just couldn't understand me. It didn't matter how many times I repeated myself. They could
Yes.
not understand what I was saying. So finally, a live person came on and we laughed, and then I got my hot sauce. But, I think that that personal touch of understanding and finding solutions, it can generate certain outcomes, but it doesn't necessarily know what you're going to ask. So, how can it give you a sincere solution, answer to that question? It's not a human being. So, I do think it's not going anywhere. I think it's only going to improve.
Yeah.
So, I think it's the new way, but I do think personal touch is still important.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially with, hospitality, right? That's the name that we give our industry, and I find it difficult to believe that AI, bots, whatever, will be able to truly give our guests the actual hospitality experience by themselves. We absolutely can utilize AI, use all this automation tools, everything that's coming out. The industry is changing so quickly. The technology is changing so quickly. Use it. It's definitely a tool, but know when you need to connect with your guest and when it's okay to be digital.
Right.
What on that note, what excites you most about where hospitality is heading in the next few years?
I think more owners are going to realize the opportunity with remote sales. So there's so many companies that are now finding, or individuals that are now finding that, hey, there's a need for this, and it's becoming successful. So it's been around for quite some time, but now more and more individuals are starting their own company and starting to offer this to owners, and there's a great savings in it. And again, I think it's the individuals that have been doing this for a long time, so it's exciting, to show them the cost savings on it, the benefit of it. I think it's exciting and it's new. So I think there's still a little bit of trust that has to go into it. So we do all of our meetings virtually at the beginning, so we can meet face to face and build that
Yeah.
connection. Obviously, go through some opportunities with their star, and again, we won't take on a hotel if we don't feel that we can make a big difference. So I think showing these owners that there's another way to go about this and to also save them some cost, I think that's a new thing for them. So I think they'll be excited once they actually, allow us the opportunity to do this. So right now we've only been open 7 years. It'll be 7 years next month, and we're about to hit our 50 hotels. So we're really excited. It's
Nice.
getting out there. It's getting out there.
Yes.
So 90% of our clients are permanent. We were really just going to be a temporary solution, but we've turned out to be permanent for most cases. So very exciting. So I think they are seeing the benefit of remote sales these days. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Naturally, every person has strengths, have weaknesses. Clearly, you have developed that into your business of what you are really good at. You can't be an expert at absolutely everything. Like you said, there may be some good synergy in partnering to have that local touch. Somebody's going to be knocking on doors themselves, but you figured out how you can help a lot of hotel owners doing what you do extremely well. And everybody's individual. So you can't always get that level of expertise from somebody that you're hiring local in one spot, right?
absolutely, absolutely. So I think they say to become an expert in something, you learn everything you can about that and you know less about everything else. So,
Yes.
again, I've been doing this for 29 years now. So I really love the industry and love what I do and want to help others.
Yeah. What's your vision for TADA and the role that you'd like to play in helping hotel owners?
I'd like to open the door and open their eyes more about the opportunity there. So, our purpose, our goal is to grow. We want to grow and build that trust with these ownership groups and management companies and show them that there's another way to do this. I guess grow with a purpose and stand out with excellence and really make a lasting impact in the hotel industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Without naming any names, brands, any of that, give me a horror story. We're coming up on Halloween. A horror story of something that you've walked into or an issue that you had to deal with. Give me some good tea.
I think that would go back to when I was a regional. So I was on site a lot more, but I remember that there was a hotel nearby, and I was at the hotel for some reason or another, and I see all of these housekeepers gathering around a room, and there's a big laundry bin, right outside. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And so I run over there, and there is what I assumed was blood everywhere. This is a good creepy Halloween story. So everywhere, I mean, on the walls, on the bed, and we were like, "What in the world?" So we're all like running around, call the police, go and see who was there because nobody was in the room. There was no clothes, no nothing. It was just kind of a mess. So we're like, "This is weird." It was very odd. But come to find out, it was just some pranksters that had used some red paint and
Oh,
probably their ID probably was not, checked at check-in to make sure they were of age. So I'm assuming they were probably teenagers.
yep.
And they had decided to do a little prank, which was not funny. It was not
No.
funny. It was very scary. So, but that was probably my biggest horror story with that I could tell you on camera. But yeah, so that was an interesting time.
Oh, did they get caught? Do you have any idea?
No, operations obviously went after it, and I think they had to
Yeah.
pay, for the cleaning of it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We can laugh about it now.
we can
Luckily,
talk
it
about it.
wasn't anything worse.
No, it was, my mind went a million different places. Where's the body? So it's strange. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Before we check out,
Hmm.
you got to have your wake up call.
Okay.
What would you say is a book, a resource, a podcast that you believe every hotel owner should read?
Every hotel owner. Good to Great is a good book by Jim Collins.
Yep.
And, it teaches you can't just want to be good. You need to want to be great, So I like that book. I also read, oh my gosh, it's an old book. One of my mentors told me to read it, but it's The World's Greatest Salesman. And
Yes. Ogmandino.
yes, I
Love
love
it.
that book. I love that
Yes.
book. So I'd say for any salesperson to read
Yeah.
that. But owners, good to great, anything on leadership. I like to watch Emma Greed on podcasts because she started this whole podcast on Aspire. So anybody that's kind of influenced her in her career. So she's got a lot of great leaders on there. My brother-in-law Brian Beckcom also has his own podcast about leadership, so I'll
Nice.
watch him. So a lot of great information, and yours, of course. As I was telling you before, I find it so admirable that you're doing this, and that you not only touch. Today we touch sales and revenue management, but all these other. I had talked to one of the owners that you had recently interviewed as well, and
Nice.
you just have a lot of different key information about the industry in itself, which is helpful for all of us. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. What would you say is one underrated skill every general manager or hotel owner should master?
Check in. check in your front desk, listen to your front desk agents as they're on the phone or as they're checking in your desk to find out, that customer service, that hospitality is there, that they're getting the information that you need, as well as making the guests feel comfortable and welcome to the hotel.
What's one myth about hotel revenue that drives you crazy?
A myth about hotel revenue that you don't always have to drop rates. So there's other ways to get business. So don't be the first to drop rate. Don't get nervous. Don't worry about those OTAs. There's other ways to find out how to get more revenue into the hotel. So it's not necessarily about that. It's also not necessarily about raising rate all the time. It's about finding that business that's going to fit into your hotel. If we need to go and get you, 10 extended stay rooms, some base account that's going to take away, 10 rooms of your inventory so we can raise the rate for everybody else coming in the door, we'll offer them a low rate. So we just kind of balance it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Being that low cost leader is a slippery slope.
Oh, yeah.
And from what I've seen in a lot of different businesses, as you run down that hill, you're sliding down that price slippery slope. You don't always get the kind of guests that you want either.
Right, absolutely. And it's really hard to build back up after you've done that. So, and I find a lot of times because owners will panic and they'll do that. And you're right, the clientele that they get in there, it chases off your corporate. And you need that
Yes.
business in the hotel. So it's important.
Yeah. Typically, it's rarely just the people that can't afford the higher rate. It's the people that are only shopping that discount and they're not seeing your value. They don't look for value, they're looking for cheap. And if you're willing to just work cheap, that's fine and that's your business. Awesome. But if you're looking for value, charge the price that you're worth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I also think there's a client for every hotel. So, there's
Yes.
different clientele. So go after what's best for your property.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I love, and we know this being into the industry, is that even just me, myself, taking my own experience, when I'm traveling for business, I want certain amenities, certain service. When I'm traveling just me and my wife, I want something completely different. When I'm traveling with me and all my 6 kids, I want something completely different still. So even me, I'm one person, one customer, one client. I want something very different depending on the circumstance, where I'm going, who I'm traveling with. And for a hotel to really know who their ideal client is, who their guest is, and just being able to serve them extremely well, that's going to help out on so many other levels.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it takes paying attention to that clientele and who you want in your hotel and who's a good fit for it.
Yeah, absolutely. What's a hospitality trend that you are excited about right now?
Remote sales. So I think that trend is on the move. So really excited about that. So
Yeah.
we have grown every year. And again, being 90% permanent solution for these owners is just amazing. So I take real pride in it. I take real pride in my staff and what they're doing for these owners. We have that personal touch. We talk to our owners on a regular basis and make sure that we're giving them what they expect. So
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a rise in it. So, I hope to double by this time next year. So we'll see.
Awesome. Awesome. I think you will. It seems like you're doing an amazing job for a lot of owners. What's one personal wake up call, a lesson that has changed how you work or live?
I think that work-life balance. I think knowing that you need to have a sense of urgency if you want to be great, if you want to produce something with that lasting impact, you have to find a sense of urgency. And all of these visions, to be a visionary, there is some fear involved in that. So conquering the fear and following your dreams and going after what you want. But it takes a lot of hard work, so you've got to be dedicated to it.
Yes, it does. Yes. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. And that's not always easy.
No, it's not, but
Yeah.
worth it in the end.
Awesome. Danielle, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate all of your insight and your wisdom. And I'm excited to watch you, watch TADA, watch it grow, and see where you go.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.